So right now I'm just looking for a good spot to set up. I'm next to a river and there's a lot of gravel bars, so those places aren't ideal. Right here looks pretty good. Completely flat, great access to water, and a little bit open. Trees, that'll help me get sheltered a little bit, but no big trees that are gonna fall on top of my head. I might just go check out over there a little bit. So I've gone a bit further and I'm really in no rush. So I'm looking for a spot that, you know, just looks like a fun place to camp. Out in the open here, I can see the mountains in the background, which is really nice, but definitely coming out from around the corner over here, the wind's picked up and the ground is really rocky or kind of sandy and gravelly. Not the best place to be setting up a tarp. There is a chance that some weather moves in tonight. You know, I want to just make sure that I'm not putting myself somewhere where the wind could really pick up, because this area is pretty famous for high winds. Yeah, so I'm definitely too out in the open here. I'm gonna go back to the edge of the forest where it was a little bit more sheltered. I decided to camp here. I've got a little bit more protection from the trees here and the way that the bend in the river comes. I've got a mountain on that side that kind of protects me a little bit. There's definitely a breeze coming straight at me this way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pitch partly off this tree out at an angle. So I'll have kind of an A-frame right here. And this is a pretty good flat piece of ground. So I'm gonna set up like that. You obviously need a tarp. So if you're gonna start tarp camping, I just recommend getting a pretty basic tarp. This one is from Paria Outdoor Products. It's a 10 by 10 tarp, 10 feet by 10 feet. Really inexpensive. I got it last year and I only used it once, but you know, if you're thinking about trying something, I don't think that it's worth going out and buying the most expensive thing in the world, because you just never know if it's going to be something you really like doing. 99% of the time, I do an A-frame pitch. Learning how to do one pitch just simplifies your life. You just learn how to do it in lots of different situations. There's all kinds of different ways to pitch an A-frame. You know, whether it's between two trees, between two sticks, between a tree and a stick. There's all kinds of variations, there's all kinds of angles, and basically you can make an A-frame work in all conditions. The other thing that I really like about the A-frame is what I did here. I pitched it as an A-frame, and then I brought up the two sides to make kind of a modified lean-to. By pitching it as an A-frame first, I know that the geometry is kind of all right, and then by just raising the sides, it means that I have more space. Now, if in the night it really starts to rain or the wind really picks up or something like that, I just have to pop out the two sticks that are holding up the lean-to portion, bring the walls down, and I've got a bomb-proof A-frame ready to go for heavy rain or for heavy wind. Using a tarp is a skill. Just sleeping under the tarp takes time to learn. It's completely different from being inside your tent and being kind of in a little home. And going out and using it on a real trip is gonna probably throw you off. So the best thing to do is to go out on a trip where your goal is to learn how to use the tarp. And that should be a pretty easy trip. You're not looking at something where you're doing big mileage or really bad weather or anything like that. You just wanna be going out and setting up the tarp and sleeping under it. Try and have fun, but also recognize that tarp camping is not for everyone. There's really a good chance that you try it and then say, this is not for me. Kind of building your shelter each time. That's just something that you have to adjust to. It's not like you show up, you throw in a few things and boom, your shelter's there. The worse the conditions, sort of the more the frustrating it gets. And for some people like me, I find that pretty rewarding. In certain situations, it's just not something I want to deal with either. I use all kinds of tents. I use the kind of tent that makes most sense for the kind of trip that I'm going to do. I'm a big fan of pyramid style tents or tarps or whatever you want to call them. Pitching a pyramid is much quicker than pitching a flat tarp. It's a little step up in difficulty from pitching a freestanding tent. So there's situations for almost every kind of tent out there. My point of view is that I want to have what I enjoy using and also what works best in a certain situation. On this trip, it's really nice weather. It's early in the season, so there aren't many bugs. There might be a little bit of rain, but maybe not. So it's really the perfect situation to use this kind of shelter. If I knew that this was going to be a horrible, horrible weather weekend, it's probably not the kind of shelter that I would have picked. Do you want to know how to use a tarp in bad weather? Definitely. That's something that, you know, you kind of have to work up to. See how it goes, and I hope some of these tips helped.